Lesson 3. Let's talk about chords. I'm going to talk for about a minute and show you some pictures of some great players as we're doing that, and then we'll come back and get back onto the fretboard. So music generally can be considered to be composed of accompaniment, which is usually chords played by polyphonic instruments like guitars and pianos. Polyphonic means the instrument can play more than one note at the same time. So that's accompaniment, also referred to as comping in jazz and blues circles. So if I had a lead guitar player or a fiddler or a sax player or singer with me, and I always just played some chords and let them do their thing on top of my chords, then I'm comping for them, and they're typically, the next part of the music structure, they're playing melody. Usually melody is single notes, single notes that form a melody that goes over on top of the chords. And then the other part of music is its timing. So whether you're comping or playing melody, there's a component of timing of when things happen. Do I hit once and then once again like that, or do I hit multiple times? So those are the elements of rhythm. So you have accompaniment using chords, melody mostly using single notes, and some rhythmic component in both of those. So as an acoustic guitar player, a lot of your work is going to be on the comping side. You're going to be playing chords to accompany either yourself singing, someone else singing, maybe some other instruments of people that you decide that you want to play with. So let's come back here and cover chords. The tune I played in the beginning is part of the first song that I ever learned. It's Heart of Gold by Neil Young. The reason I learned to play the guitar is when I heard that song on a vinyl record, and I heard that intro, and I just never played the guitar before. I just heard that and said, I have to learn what he's doing. And I found someone that was willing to teach me, that I was also going to high school with, that knew some guitar already, and the rest I just kept playing after that. And to this day, and I hope to play a whole lot longer. So that song is composed of 4 chords, and the first one is the one I'm going to show you now. This is the first chord I learned, and I'm going to call out the notation with the fingers and the frets and the strings, and you try to play it. And then I'll start to show you the rest of the chords, and we're going to cover a methodology for getting your fingers to do these type of chord forms, which is going to take some time because your fingers have to get used to doing some gymnastics that they're not used to doing. So, E minor chord. The 6th string is open, so there's no finger on the 6th string. It's open string. You're going to take your 2nd finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. And you're also, depending on where you want to put your thumb and what you want to do with your wrist and the back of your hand, somehow you're going to get your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. So it's right behind your 2nd finger. If you can see it that way, I'll show you some different angles on that. That's kind of what it looks like from there. And if I play it like this, one at a time, it sounds like that one, that's working. That is working. If I play them all together, that's working. So that's an E minor chord. If you're playing chords for the first time, it's probably not going to play like that right away. You're going to have to work on it and take a little time. So the first step of playing a chord is one finger at a time, memorizing in your heads, okay, that my 2nd finger goes there and my 3rd finger goes there. And that's the first way to learn the chord. One finger at a time, trying to remember in your head what the pattern is for the chord. Okay? When you first play a chord, and I showed you this, I think in lesson 1, it might sound a little like that because you're on top of the fret maybe, or your fingers are leaning. So if I can show you this, my 2nd finger looks okay, but my 3rd finger in this case is hanging down and it's hitting the 3 and the 2 string, and it's just not going to sound like a chord. So I have to kind of adjust it and move it around and see what I can do to get it in position. I wish I could tell you exactly how to do that, but everyone's hands are different, everyone's biomechanics are different, so it's something you have to discover on your own about your own guitar and your own fret hand. So take your time and do that. It might take days, weeks, months, it doesn't matter, because once you get past this and you can form chords, you can play songs, and you'll be doing that for the rest of your life. So don't rush. Do it as best you can. Try to enjoy the process of getting your hands to do this. Just realizing that it's really very different than fingers normally are used for. So that's part of the learning curve. The next chord I want to show you is a G chord. There are two ways to play this. I'm going to give you one right now, and I'll add another one later. So we're going to take your first finger and put it on the 5 string on the 2nd fret. Your second finger is going to go on the 6th string on the 3rd fret. And this again, you might have to twist around because you got to get this 3rd finger also onto the 3rd fret on the 1st string. And I'll put the chord pattern up there so you can see it, but that is a G chord. So once again, following our process, when you start with no hands on the fretboard and you're learning how to play chords, just say, as best you can remember that you say, okay, this is a G chord, and it's going to go here, and it's going to go there, and it's going to go there. Depending on how your brain likes to learn, you may like to view this in terms of a pattern, and you're looking at the fretboard and you're seeing a pattern, or you may like to view it as the numeric part, 5th string 2nd fret, 6th string 3rd fret, and so forth. So whatever works for you, but at some point, whatever is most effective for you, you're going to have to memorize where these fingers go, whether it's with visual pattern recognition or numeric kind of as you can see, the neck is sort of like a grid with rows and columns, the frets being rows and the strings being columns. That some people remember it better that way. So that's up to you as you discover how you're best going to be able to remember these things. The next one is a C chord. So let me just call that out. Your first finger is going to go on the 2nd string, 1st fret. Your second finger goes on the 4th string, 2nd fret. And your third finger goes on the 5th string at the 3rd fret. Okay. Again, if your fingers are getting in the way of other strings, which is pretty common when you first learn to play chords, your first string is gonna hit this E string, the 1 string, and it's gonna do that thing. So you're gonna have to try to figure out how to get your knuckle to come down without leaning onto the other string, and maybe twisting your wrist, finding a good location for your thumb. I tend to play with my thumb hanging over the neck. That's me. That's not. It's not a great form in terms of like a classical guitarist would never play that way. They have their thumb in the middle of the neck in the back usually. I just never found that comfortable. But all of those options are available for you. And let me just give you the last chord, and then I'm going to stop this lesson after I show you those chords one more time. And we'll do a review lesson of this because we covered a lot of material. The last chord is a D chord. Let me spell that out for you. So it looks like a triangle. The first finger is going to go on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. The second finger is going to go on the 1st string at the 2nd fret. So this, you kind of squeezed in here, these two, and leaving that string in the middle, you're going to, with your 3rd finger, get that at the 3rd fret. So if you can see what I mean, it kind of looks like a triangle. That's a D chord. Okay? So, reviewing what we said here, learning the chords is, in the first phase, 2 things. Memorizing where your fingers go, in whatever method will be most effective for you to memorize that. And then one at a time, getting your fingers down into position to go, okay, that one goes there, that one goes there, that one goes there, that looks like a D chord. And then I have my fingers in position, then play it and try to adjust what's wrong. Like some notes are going to be blocked, and you're going to have to move your hand, fix them, get used to it until you get the chord to ring out. It's going to go like that, and then you're going to fix it and make it go like that. Okay, so just one more time briefly. That's an E minor. That's a G. That's a C. And that's a D. After we get that working and we can move between chords, then you'll be playing songs for the rest of your life, because that's really all that's necessary on guitar, is to be able to comfortably move between a group of chords, and then you're playing songs. And then it gets really fun. So that's the end of lesson 3. I'll see you in lesson 4.